Late last night, before I got to go to bed at about 3:45 a.m. or so, I actually saw something really intriguing before I went to bed. And no, it was not me playing around in the app that can make you look like a female or a male or somebody of the opposite sex, okay? It was not that. It was this here, okay? This popped up on Google. The headline alone, it got me. It got me, man. It said totally normal and not a bubble chart. And as soon as I saw that article recommended to me, I knew immediately they're going to be talking about Tesla stock, okay? And this person is being facetious, okay? When they say totally normal and not a bubble chart, they aren't being serious about that, okay? They're joking. This is a short seller basically saying that Tesla stock is a bubble, okay? And we're going to look at exactly what this individual has to say. Do they have any points, in my opinion? Do they not have any points? And all those sorts of things, okay? So that's the goal in this video, okay? I'm going to react to their bubble thesis. Let's call it that. It's not even a short thesis. It's a bubble thesis, okay? Some comparisons some people are doing out there between, what's going on with Tesla stock and what happened with Bitcoin a few years ago, okay? I'll give my reaction to that. Then I'm going to react to some of these comments. There's actually some very intriguing comments that were in the comment section of this particular article. I'm going to go through those, kind of react to those. And lastly, I'll share my opinion on if I think Tesla is kind of in a bubble situation right now, which we saw the stock was up again today. I think it hit $22+ a share or something like that. Are we in bubble territory? Are we not? Okay, so I'll share a very in-depth opinion on that as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, it should be a fun one. This is actually a very rare video that I'm super looking forward to actually recording. This is a fun one for me. So if you guys don't mind smashing that thumbs up, it definitely helps out the YouTube channel. Let's get into this, guys. So first off, in order to see what I want to see, there's I guess a button I have to click. It's like a play button. I go to click that. Then I have to try to sign up for something. I'm like, I don't want to sign up for anything, man. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be bombarded with a bunch of emails to get behind some sort of paywall for this website or whatever it is. And we know this individual is a short seller of Tesla. And man, I'm not trying to give out my JP Morgan Reserve Palladium card number to any Tesla short seller, okay? That's just not gonna happen, all right? No way. Not the Palladium. Actually, I don't even have Palladium. I'm just kidding, okay? It's more like the Chase Business Preferred with a 30K limit. So don't get too excited if you find my wallet laying around somewhere, okay? 30K limit on that card, okay? So go over to Wall Street Bets, do your 30K in YOLO options. You'll lose it in a few days, and bada boom, bada bang, okay? Have some fun, okay? So what is their their bearish thesis, or let's call it the bubble thesis once again, because this person's not just short. They say this is a bubble, okay? That's severe, okay? They say, I will check back in a year or two after this pops. This is going to cause some retail traders to lose fortunes, unfortunately. To all you delusional fanboys who think Tesla will sustain a 90 RSI on the monthly chart, please check back with me in a year after this corrects majorly and sucks out a ton of value from retail, okay? So basically, this person's looking at it from more of a technical perspective than a fundamental perspective. You always know when I talk about Tesla stock, I always talk from a standpoint of the fundamentals, where the valuation is at, and those sorts of things. This individual is looking at things like the RSI and technical indicators, and basically saying that Tesla's just one big bubble waiting to pop, okay? Interesting. I'll wait to give my opinion on this. Let's go through some comments and I'll kind of give my opinion on this, okay? This individual in the comments, they say, I measure the trend by applying Elliott's wave theory. This entire pop is part of a huge correction that has started in 2014. You would think higher highs are not correction, but the current uptrend is a three-wave series. This stock will be back to $175 when it's all said and done. I can't time the market, but I know this uptrend is corrective, okay? Now, when they say $175, I don't think they mean 175 from 2,200, whatever it's at now. I'm assuming what they're talking about is after the stock splits, which should be in a few days from now, right? After it splits, then the stock going down to 175, okay? I believe that's what they're kind of referring to there, which would still be a dramatic fall, but there's a big difference between going from 2,200 to obviously $175. This comment's pretty intriguing, okay? It says, yes, 100%. There are many that feel this stock can only go up, like zero in the history of However, I exacted my profit at $1,475 and am unconcerned to see it spiking higher still. A lot of people are planning their retirements around these parabolic gains. I don't know about that necessarily, okay? I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people that invest in a stock, and I mean, like, I probably know more people invest in a stock than anybody in the world that knows people invest in a stock, and I don't think anybody's really, like, necessarily planning their retirement around it. That's going a little far, okay? But, you know, hey, it is what it is. And it's going to be a massive shock. It doesn't ascend to $1 billion per share to those folks. They're not traders or investors, but throwing coins into a wishing well that seems bottomless so far. But holy heck, okay? And this person says it's not a question of if, and this I think believes like the article writer, it's not a question of if, but rather when. Linking this chart upside to Bitcoin in 2017 is scary for those tossing their savings into the asset. I don't know how to reply with chart pictures, but here, okay? And basically they show, you know, Tesla stock, and then they show a picture of Bitcoin. And they basically, you know, we see what Bitcoin has done since that massive spike up there. And so they're comparing Tesla to Bitcoin now, okay? Now, a quote-unquote Tesla fanboy or stockholder or whatever, they respond, they say, Weston, will you still be pointing at this chart when both Bitcoin and Tesla are 10x their current valuations? Also, cryptocurrency has absolutely nothing to do with Tesla. Seriously, people wanting Tesla to crash and burn will latch onto absolutely anything that supports their wish, okay? And hey, I gotta say, you know, that is a decent point there. I mean, you're talking about a stock with fundamentals, with a business model that just did, what, $25 billion in the past year or so in revenues and should scale to 40, 60, 100 billion just in the next like 3-4 years, right? Versus a cryptocurrency that produces nothing. You know, it's just, they're two completely different things. I don't really think they should be compared, in my personal opinion, as well. And that goes for better or for worse, okay? Weston responds, he says, a bubble chart is a bubble chart, bud. I'm not comparing them as if they have anything to do with each other. Tesla fanboys will latch onto anything to be butthurt about. Oh, fight, 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 fight. Then the comeback, Weston. It's pretty hard to be butthurt owning Tesla stock these days. Oh my goodness, okay? Then another comment conversation here, it says, seems like you're butthurt that some people have a different opinion. No one said that it will continue to grow at this rate or not have a correction. Check back in 20 years. As far as what does Weston have to say to that, he says, I had respect for you until this reply. Doing the same. Something, something, pot and kettle. Okay, interesting, okay? That was all very entertaining. That was entertainment at its finest, folks. Like, forget Netflix, forget, you know, PS4s and Xboxes and, you know, sports. Well, sports doesn't happen anyway, so just forget all that, okay? That was pure entertainment with the last few minutes we just spent there, okay? Now, my perspective on this, is Tesla stock in a bubble or not, okay? What is my perspective, okay? And in terms of, you know, I need somebody to kind of help me along with this video, so I'm going to ask my you know, brilliant research analyst Jennifer to kind of just give us a little Tesla history lesson if she can, you know, because she's phenomenal at knowing Tesla history. She's been tracking the stock basically since it went public, so she's watched it all along its life, and it's just quite interesting, okay? So Jennifer made me a few slides here, and let's kind of go through those, okay? So if we go back to August 2011, okay, Tesla's a $24 stock. Now, when this stock was $24 a share, I can tell you, well, Jennifer can tell you, that this is essentially a stock that was actually considered overvalued then, okay? At $24 a share, Tesla stock was considered overvalued. People are like, this is crazy. That company is gonna go BK easily. Look at, they got no money around. They're taking losses. They aren't producing anything right now. I mean, it's some, you know, upstart electric car company. That's ridiculous that it even has a $24 stock price in front of it, okay? And you know, they were looking at the market cap at that time, and a lot of people said that was a bubble then, okay? And then we fast forward to 2013, the stock went to $193 a share, okay? From $24 to $193. Okay, that's unbelievable. What is that, like an 8x in the stock price or some insane increase in a matter of 2 years? And when that stock popped to 193, that was a moment when, a lot of Wall Street started to talk about this stock. A lot of short sellers started jumping on board this stock and saying this was an absolute bubble and this company was destined for failure and the valuation was ridiculous. And this was like literally like 2013 into 2014, 15, 16. Those were when a lot of Tesla short sellers jumped on the bandwagon and really started to try to beat this one down because they looked at the valuation and what the company was doing and what they were expected to do over the next year, and they said, this is silly, okay? This stock is destined for failure. Now, what happened? Well, even at its worst point, the stock only went down roughly like 30%. And so it wasn't like the stock like cratered, 50, 60, 70, 80% or something like that. Not even close. Like literally the worst it ever did was it went down roughly about 30% from that 190-ish level, okay? Which is quite intriguing. So that massive, collapse in the stock price, it never ended up happening. But you know what did happen? This stock did almost nothing for 6 years, okay? Because we can fast forward all the way from basically September 2013 all the way through August of 2019, and the stock price hadn't hardly moved, right? It was 225 bucks in August of 2019. I mean, just think about that. 6 years and the stock did almost nothing. It went up some, went to the 300s, and it would go back down to the 200s, and then up to the 300s, down to the 200s, and it would just kind of be like this little roller coaster just riding around, doing a whole lot of nothing for 6 years. Unbelievable, right? And when it comes to something like this, you got to start thinking, maybe this is happening again with Tesla stock. Maybe we're going to end up in no man's land for several years out or something like that. And I'll give my full opinion on kind of this theory as well. Like, could the stock stagnate, okay? But let's address the bigger one first, because this is the much bigger one, right? Because these folks are saying, essentially, Tesla shorts are starting to say this stock is going to do what Bitcoin did in the Bitcoin crash, where Bitcoin topped out at 20,000, okay? And at its bottoms, it fell all the way to the 3,000 range, right? It was an 80-90% fall in a matter of, that wasn't even that long. I think it was like a 6 or 12 month span or something like that. It was less than a year, I believe, for sure. If we went back and actually looked at a Bitcoin chart in depth from the time it hit 20K to the time it was in 3,000 range, it was less than a year. An 80 to 90% fall. And that's what these Tesla shorts are starting to say. They're trying to say Tesla's going to do the same thing, just crash through the floor, okay? My personal opinion on this, highly unlikely that we would see, Tesla's stock price fall 80 to 90% in my personal opinion. Why is this, okay? Well, why, no pun intended, Model Y, okay? You need another reason, Model X. You need another reason, Model 3. You need another reason, Model S. You need another reason, what about some solar panels on your roof, okay? You need another reason, what about a whole new roof with solar shingles on it? You need another reason, what about an expanding accessories business? You need another reason, what about an app store in the car that is going to start taking off and building into likely one of the most successful app stores, especially as this company ramps to 10 million vehicles, 15 million vehicles, 20 million vehicles, because more and more developers will be jumping on this, realizing, oh my gosh, there's huge opportunity here. Phone apps, so saturated. Let's go into the next wave, and the next wave is in-car entertainment. And gosh, if this company is going to sell 10 million, 15 million, 20 million plus cars in the future, might be important to start building apps. And Tesla will take a cut of that app revenue. Quite intriguing, okay? What about Tesla service? This has always been a huge drag on the business, right? All these new cars coming out with warranties and the used market not really being a big thing yet. But what about when all these cars are out there, millions, tens of millions of cars are out there, right? And, these cars are getting old and they're being sold, used cars and things like that, and things are going to break on them, right? Things break on all cars, things will break, right? What about when Tesla service turns from essentially a business that is losing Tesla a ton of money because all these cars are under warranty to a business that starts making Tesla a ton of money and they start profiting from? What happens when that happens, right? What happens when the supercharger network has 10 million cars on a fleet, 15, 20, 25, 30 million cars on a fleet? How profitable will the supercharger network end up being, okay? What about a company that can just launch a product out of nowhere that can literally become the most hyped vehicle in the history of mankind, like what they did with Cybertruck, okay? I mean, isn't that kind of amazing, right? No one saw Cybertruck coming, and all of a sudden, in a matter of a few months, this became the most popular, talked about vehicle, and likely pre-ordered vehicle in the history of mankind. Isn't that unbelievable? Imagine the numbers Cybertruck will do when this comes out. We're dealing with that type of company, okay? These are things that currencies can't do. Currencies can't just come out with some game-changing product that all of a sudden starts making billions or tens of billions of dollars, okay? It doesn't happen. What about Tesla Roadster? The day that launches, that's going to immediately be probably the most popular, let's call it supercar in the world. It will end up being Tesla Roadster and then every other supercar you ever liked right below it, okay? Lamborghinis and Ferraris and everything, okay? That will be the most popular once that baby gets up and rolling and launched, okay? What about Powerwall, right? I mean, think about battery packs and actually being able to generate your own electricity from your solar panels and things like that, and then being able to even sell it back to the grid potentially and making money from that. That has some potential there, right? The battery business alone, Powerwalls, batteries in general, massive opportunity. What about the semi? I mean, how many things do we have to go through for this company? I mean, my goodness, okay? These are things currencies can't do. Imagine how big the semi business can be for this company over time, right? What about the commercial solar business? We know about the commercial battery business, right? We want to sell a ton of batteries to either like big corporations or like cities and things like that. But what about commercial solar? Has a massive opportunity. So many companies are trying to move, to solar buildings, right? We heard Amazon's running commercials all over TV right now that essentially says that they're going to be 100% sustainable by 2025, okay? And if they're doing that, that means everybody else is gonna have to follow suit, which means, man, if you got warehouses and factories and these sorts of things, you better get solar panels on it. What about the fact that Tesla autonomous taxi network is gonna get launched over the next few years? And you just think about the type of opportunity that is and how that could actually be a really profitable business model, right? Uber, Lyft, those type of companies have always had trouble really making any money from ride sharing. Why? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, somebody's got to drive that car around. But man, when all of a sudden it's a robo-taxi can do it, you're talking about the profitability switches in a massive way. I think Tesla's going to end up winning this. I mean, really, when I look at it, I think they're going to win it. Like how big is that? Like, how big is that market? Just think about that for a moment. I don't think anybody's going to beat Tesla to this game. And imagine how big that is, right? It's just crazy, okay? And you think this company's done? You think they're not going to, we just went through a bunch of things that are either already launched or are going to launch in the next couple of years, right? But what about the products we haven't seen yet, right? You think the engineers there and the whole company is just going to be like, oh, we're good. We created a bunch of stuff. Nope, now we don't need it. No, of course, they're going to come out with new products. They're coming out with new services, all these things in the future. Their engineers are brilliant. We're fortunate. We got an engineer from Tesla actually in the 7-figure club in the private stock group, okay? He's been an engineer there since I think it was 2014. I actually got to have a phone conversation with this individual this week. Brilliant guy. Absolute brilliant guy, and we're fortunate he's actually going to do some coaching for us for some of our new students in the private group, which I'm super thankful for. Brilliant guy. I mean, absolute brilliant guy. And imagine they got, teams and teams of these, high-level thinkers, high-level engineers. I mean, imagine how many great engineers are at Tesla, working around the clock, just trying to figure out things, better way to do this, better way to do that. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And so when it comes to stock market, anything is possible. But, it's very hard for me to imagine from here Tesla stock falls 80, 90% or anywhere remotely close to those type of numbers, like Bitcoin did. Let's just put it that way because it is two completely different things, okay? But let's talk about the more, let's call it realistic situation, which could this stock go stagnant for 5, 6 years, something like that, right? Which is what we've seen happen in the stock before. The valuation went crazy on it 6 years ago, right? I mean, just crazy, and then it didn't do anything for years. Now the valuation, in a lot of people's opinion, has gone crazy on the stock. Are we setting ourselves up for another 5, 6 year period, okay? And I could say maybe, potentially for this, maybe. I mean, the market cap is huge now. It's a $400 billion plus market cap. There's no way you can justify what Tesla's doing today versus that market cap, right? There's no way. But let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's start looking at this a little differently, right? So if we go back to 2017, this company lost nearly $2 billion on the bottom line, okay? I mean, imagine that, a net loss of almost $2 billion in a year. versus the last trailing 12 months, this company has made a profit of $368 million. This business model in the last few years went from taking a $2 billion loss to now being profitable. This is a massive switch in the business model, okay? But not only that, what I think is about to happen over the next several years is this company is going to get in a position where they can start doubling up net income almost year in and year out, unless they have a huge investment year or something like that where they have to spend crazy money on something, okay? For instance, I think that next year, okay, 2021, this company should easily be able to pull in $1 billion of net income. And I mean easily, okay? We'll see. You never really know, and you never know how this Rona situation is going to go and all those sorts of things. But I mean, just seeing the company, get to the levels they're at in this whole ugly experience that is the Rona situation, right? I have full faith, based upon the type of revenue numbers I expect for this company next year, that they will be able to get to a place where they have $1 billion plus bottom line net income next year, okay? But what happens when the following year they go to $2 billion and they double that up? And the next year they go to $4 billion and they double that up. And the next year they go to $8 billion. And they're having this exponential increases, which when you run the revenue numbers that this company should be increasing to in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, it's not hard to imagine these type of net incomes. And what happens when 5 years out they got $16 billion possibly on that bottom line, right? And let's say that exponential, like double up of net income each and every year, right? Let's say that slows down and then they only go up to $24 billion. And then let's say they only increase $6 billion next year and they're at $30 billion. Still, I mean, even then, the profits pouring into this business are ridiculous, okay? And so when you look at this from more of a longer term perspective, all of a sudden you start to realize these numbers, and especially if this company can get to a place where they're pulling in hundreds of billions of dollars of revenue, which, some people say in 7 to 8 years, this is definitely, a realistic possibility for this company based upon where the business will be at. I mean, think about where Tesla was 7 or 8 years ago compared to where it's at now. I mean, you can't even compare it. It was a joke, right? Now all of a sudden it's like that company that everybody's taking serious finally. But people are saying, well, maybe it's overvalued. And it's like, look at the exponential increases that are likely going to happen for this company when it comes to revenues and profits and everything across the board over the next several years. And this is something we've seen before. This is Amazon all over again, okay? I really think there's only one company in the world you should compare to Amazon. One, and that's Tesla, and that's it, okay? And Amazon's the type of company, they've always been able to get away with a massive valuation on the business model. And if you look at Amazon anytime in the past, okay, the valuation never made sense for where that business model was at that present time, or even where the business model was at in the next year, okay? Even right now, I mean, Amazon has got a $1.7 trillion market cap on it. There's no way you can justify that based upon what the company's doing now. But all of a sudden you go ahead and you start running numbers on what they're going to likely be doing in 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now. All of a sudden you're like, wow, 1.7 trillion is not bad at all. And this company's always been able to get away with that because they've always had this exponential growth behind them, this growth engine, and that's just kind of atmosphere of the company of growth, scale the business. And this is, Tesla is Amazon 2.0. Very different businesses, all those sorts of things, but they're the only two businesses I can put into that same category, okay? The only other business. I've never seen another business in my 12 years being in the stock market that compared to Amazon, and it's Tesla at the end of the day. It's that company because they run similarly. They don't care about short-term profits. They're going to scale the business. They're going to focus mostly on ramping revenues, taking market share, and making sure they're relevant 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, and much more relevant than they are today. It's Amazon 2.0. And so when I look at it from that perspective, as a long-term investor in this company, I'm not worried at all. If the stock goes down, fine. I'll still be up massively. I mean, if the stock could go down 50%, I'll still be up massively. Now, I do worry about it from a perspective if anybody's trying to short-term trade it and trying to buy in at 2,200 and hoping it goes to 25, 3,000. I don't like that activity. I'll be honest, I don't like that activity at all, and I don't like to see that. And that's the type of stuff that worries me, but at the end of the day, if you're just playing this because you're just playing for short-term trading, you're gambling money anyways. You're just, instead of going to Vegas where I live, right, and you go on the strip and you roll the dice or you play the slot or you play some blackjack, instead of that, you're deciding you want to gamble on this stock and buy in at 2,200 and hope it goes to 2,500 and sell out, and then maybe it goes down to 2,400, buy back in, then it'll go to 2,600. You're just gambling. And then if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But as a long-term investor, it's all good with me. If this stock stagnates for a few years, I'm fine with it. And if this stock goes down a bunch, I'm fine with it as well. But in terms of, comparing this to Bitcoin, saying it's a bubble, it will go down 80, 90%, that's where I say, you might be getting a little confused there, in my opinion. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button. That helps out the YouTube channel in a massive, massive way. And also, if you're looking to scale your stock market portfolio to 6 figures, 7 figures, even 8 figures in the future, check out the first link down there in the description. That should help you out tremendously. You'll be able to apply. Hopefully get on a phone call with somebody high up from my team. We can tell you a little bit about Financial Fortress and how that can help you out. Thank you for watching and have a great day.